28th. It's our semifinal matchup. We've got Gravity going up against WestR. Yes, we are seeing Gravity Gaming yet again. We apologize to them, of course, for being in every single one of their games, just how the bracket has, of course, worked out on to this point. But still, looking on as we're going to experience London Docks. And for those who, of course, didn't get to witness the last series, there's actually Gravity Gaming who just beat C6, which is Ares Prophet, Ghoster, and Vicious on this exact map in a hot 6-0. So this group feeling confident, feeling good, but this is a much different team return, showing exactly why that's the case. Him and SSaggioo have to go for the rush, and it looks like, I believe, he does get taken out from his teammate, which is rather unfortunate. But regardless, SSaggioo will find the one that matters the most, which, of course, is the one at MShake, as you see his teammate return. Try to jump in for it. But still, it is Westar who does grab the first round to play. When it kind of comes down to both of these teams, Gravity kind of known as more of a, I want to say like a more well-rounded team, but just because of the fact that Gravity has been kind of competing, they've, of course, did compete at Cedar Dallas and finished in a top 40 placement, which in past would not be that impressive, but generally, the way that the competitive scene works right now, I mean, really, anything above, like, or below, like, top 64 is kind of like, okay, like, you played pretty well, like, it's fair to say. So, top 40 placement is definitely one to be respected, as a lot of these guys have kind of been known for their search and destroy prowess. Skyz and Anihmal to be 2. And, of course, knowing of MShake and Hate for the last few seasons. But guys like TTinyy, Frostyyy, Return, all these guys known for their S&D play. And it's not unorthodox whatsoever to see them grouping up. It looks like Return. Not sure if he's just in slow motion, as he does actually take out Anihmal. I would have loved to have seen what would have happened there, just because Anihmal was holding that head glitch, but Frostyyy and Return, can they convert the 2 versus 4? Return also spawning the head of Skyz just on that backside statue. Spot the head of Shake, and they try to confirm, and try to convert, rather. A little bit of a bait-and-switch situation, but that's not at all the case. You see the blue arrows start to swap roles as they're going to be going on a pinch here. On one side is Skyz, and Skyz can't get it done. Frostyyy finds it, and MShake gets tags, and at least both players pulls the machine pistol, and yes, gets both of them done. Huge play. They're coming in from Shake as they'll finish off the final 2 in what seemed as if a unlikely circumstance. A near 2 versus 4 that gets converted, but a 1 versus 2 there from this man, as Gravity Gaming are able to chalk one up on the board. A difficult one at that, but MShake, of course, now sitting at 4-1, along with grabbing that defuse, is definitely on his way to potentially earning some streaks. As you'll obviously see the tacticals be thrown off the bat. As this man here, Anihmal, known for his first bloods, we saw in all the series so far, they've got to cast over them. As this guy can definitely be incredibly lethal. And what I really like that we're actually seeing from Westar compared to C6, as far as London Docks is considered, as Skyz evens the man count there with that sniper shot, is their mid-map presence. A lot of teams can obviously want to kind of force when it comes into defense, you know, sending maybe 2 to A or at least kind of 3 around that B area. But they're definitely having a lot of mid-map pressure, not just having someone sitting in that fire head glitch, but actually having someone kind of forced up either on stairs or back statue. And what that does is totally limits, as Skyz finds yet again another snipe, it limits what Anihmal can do on the map. And he's the guy who kind of breaks things off. And for him to be 0-3, it's not a surprise that we're seeing Gravity not necessarily struggle, but are definitely having a lot harder of a time. As you see Hate going for the plant, and SSaggioo could have the opportunity of surprise, but does get picked off. Skyz finding, I believe, at least 3 in this round, if not the ace. I want to say it was 3. But 2 of those with the sniper, as they're going to constantly have to be aware of that, is Westar, with what this guy can do. And I've been able to cast over Gravity Gaming quite a bit, and not that it hasn't been Skyz who's gone off, but kind of when this team got announced, I was very interested to see what he kind of do for this team. And not that he hasn't impressed me, but I was kind of waiting for a tournament here or there where he would just really break out. And I feel like this tournament, at least with that sniper play, I mean, he has shown why this team could definitely use him. It looks like Return pulling out the duck soup, as it looks like he will be able to stew up at least a few kills there for the moment. But SSaggioo and Frostyyy with the objective in hand. Man down, and the sniper bullet just whistles past the air, of course, coming from who else other than Skyz. Going for the quick plant, and Frostyyy just needs to stay up. Skyz going for the rush, takes out one, and now SSaggioo waving the white flag right now. Going to have players entering in from all angles. Picks off one, but Hate is there for the trade. And if anyone needed to stay alive, it would be Hate in his position, as he will earn streaks, earning the fighter pilot glide bomb, and getting closer toward that mortar strike. And like I said, the 3-to-1 advantage. Having players already with streaks, that's huge when it comes in overall morale. And just props to the guys on Gravity for allowing certain players to make plays. And honestly, if you're Anihmal, not that it's okay that he's 0-4, because of course, like, he's the guy who really needs to be finding those first bloods, but if he's at least tagging up people or getting assists, that's totally fine for him, because that's what his role is. I mean, his goal essentially is to try to get the guys who are kind of hanging in the back those streaks, because most of the time, that's going to be happening. And props to throwing that smoke, because it lands totally straight up. But Gravity looks like, besides Anihmal, who's made it inside of fire, no one pushing up too far. And the reason why is because they've got streaks to work with. It looks like Hate shuts down Return, who tries to go inside a closet. TTinyy survives, but for how much longer is the thing? Player number 5, which is TTinyy, trying to exchange a few shots. As Anihmal drops yet again. Frosty gets picked off a massive shot. Not a very difficult shot at that from Skyz. And SSaggioo, yet again, left in a position to clutch. You see two players right now struggling at 0-5, both TTinyy and Anihmal. But you look at the players around him, who are kind of performing well. Hate 8-2 on his 6 spree, 5-1 for 1 as well. But I think, honestly, if we see TTinyy start to kind of pick things up, kind of surprised, honestly, to see TTinyy not playing as up to par. Of course, it is, you know, a map. It's a few rounds, but I believe TTinyy did play actually at Cibo Dallas on Exomoon in the open bracket, where I believe he ended up taking down Supremacy, who was like the 2nd seed, I want to say, in that tournament, in the open bracket at least, and definitely made a name for himself. I was pretty proud of the guy. I've been able to cast over TTinyy since Call of Duty Ghosts, heading into World War II, not back in the day during the relevant competitive title, but got to watch him play quite a bit, and made it very far. He was known kind of for his sniper play, as he's obviously pulling out here in round number 6. But definitely needs to try to get some momentum on his side. A first blood, a sniper shot would be great. As now is his opportunity to do so. 1 versus 2. Hate sitting on middle stairs. And MShake sitting inside of 10. And we'll see how TTinyy tries to play this, because bomb is down. Not in a favorable position. And here come the streaks. Does have mountain. So he looks up kind of at the air just to be like, oh, okay, is my fate coming? Is it not coming? Not exactly sure, but MShake will be there for the pickup as 5 rounds to 1. Honestly, if Blue, who of course is the team who won the other semifinal versus the EU Cadets, if they're watching this match, not that map videos exist, but you have to be aware. If London Docks is in the rotation, you do not want to face off against Gravity Gaming on London Docks. That's for sure. I mean, literally, with Anihmal going 1-6, you've got MShake at 6-1. Skyz, who's been doing work with the sniper rifle at 5-4, and Hate at 10-2. These guys are lethal. No pun intended there for Hate, but these guys are just incredibly lethal at this particular map as the quick rush comes in from Skyz along with the earlier frag going down. Thank you very much for that kill. Skyz at least wants the hat trick, and he knows exactly where the final player is, sitting inside of closet. As it will be the guys on Gravity Gaming who win this in dominant fashion. Only 7 rounds of play as they win London Docks 6 rounds to 1. And are now just a USS Texas away from potentially making their way to the finals, which, of course, like I said, facing off potentially against Blue, which is Fastball, Stamino, and Johnny's team. So with that in mind, if you're Westar at this point, you really have to be wavering when it comes down to USS Texas, because, of course, I like USS Texas, but it really is a map where if you see like a pro team kind of versus a search and destroy kind of known squad, that's a map that you can always take, but it's kind of like, if I'm, a pro team who plays a lot of respawns, kind of plays a lot of hardpoint, a lot of CTF, whatever it may be, if I'm playing London or if I'm playing USS Texas, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, that's like a good draw for me. Like, because I'm pretty proud of that. Just because when it comes down to USS Texas, you can work either site with the sniper rifle as long as you find first picks, use smokes correctly. There's a lot of like outside strats that you can use that don't really come into like absolutely trading or bait and switching. Like those obviously come into play, but for the most part, it's just kind of choosing a bomb site and just working on it time after time after time. So curious to see how USS Texas obviously works out for both these teams. For Westar, this is probably not, at least based on my opinion, and kind of from an outside source, unless all these guys just happen to be gods at USS Texas, this is probably a draw that they prefer not to have. I think if you're Gravity Gaming, you're feeling decently confident after just winning London Docks in 6-1 fashion. They literally the last two matchups that they played London Docks on, they are combined 12-1 in round count. Between facing off against C6 and Westar. And this being in the semifinals, I mean, winning any semifinal matchup in any competitive Call of Duty tournament has to give you a lot of momentum to win one in such dominant fashion. So with USS Texas up to bat, you've got to be expecting Skyz to have one sniper rifle on one side, and TTinyy, who obviously struggled a lot. At one point, he was 0-5 in that London Docks. Probably will be the man with a sniper rifle heading into USS Texas, so he's going to have to turn up. He's going to have to try to compete off against Skyz, who obviously has been playing very, very well throughout this entire tournament. Back everyone to the UMG Prime $12 4v4 Search and Destroy here for December 28th. The semifinals, Gravity Gaming just took a dominant victory on London Docks, winning that one 6 rounds to just 1. Now the ball is in Westar's court. How do they respond? And that's exactly what you need to do. Return and TTinyy at the same time, both finding snipes. And with that, MShake is the last up in a 1 versus 4. I believe seeing the head of SSaggioo, surely. Most likely playing trigger discipline, but TTinyy is there for the pickup. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Literally, my question gets answered within the first, like 20 seconds of the round number 1 taking place. TTinyy, to me, needs to turn up. I said Westar needs to have the sniper rifles out. Most likely going to be TTinyy versus Skyz. What do we see? We see TTinyy at least pick off with 2 kills in that round number 1. At the same time, we see Frostyyy as well find one. And, or excuse me, that wasn't Frostyyy. I think it was Return, actually, who does find the snipe. And so with that, the snipers are out, and TTinyy wins the first battle versus Skyz. As the pre-snaps going out for both of these players, as these picks are huge and just overall. Great reaction coming in from Skyz, and just overall solid positioning for him to prone up and to realize where his crosshair would be placed. As that allows them to easily get the plant down. Of course, as that kill goes forward, MShake realizes, okay, I'm good for the plant. Anihmal dropping the second player. Skyz finds the third. As Return, last up 1 versus 3. Spots out the second player instead of top control, but can't do much more than fire a few bullets with that machine pistol. But this is what I was talking about. As we get to watch here Anihmal in the final kill cam, was that sniper duel. When it comes down to that site, it's just a matter of who finds the first pick, because if you are on the offensive side, finding that first pick allows your team so much open space to kind of get that bomb down. It allows your teammates to most likely be able to cross without receiving a sniper bullet in their face at all times. And it kind of allows you to not have to throw a smoke. It allows you to kind of rock a frag or a, regular sticky grenade. Skyz gets met with another shot on the TTinyy. As the quick jump equals into his own defeat. There's a nice flank coming in there from SSaggioo. As him and Frostyyy are now going to join hand in hand, but only for a short time. Anihmal able to pick off one. Frostyyy realizes where Anihmal could be, but Shake is holding on that bomb head glitch. And you see Frostyyy trying to look for the shadow. STG 44 versus a, what was that, a bar on a head glitch? Usually, let's say, oh, actually, MShake. Okay, rocking the PPSH. Thought he actually had the bar for a second. But regardless, though, Gravity responding to the answers. This is what I was kind of discussing, too, heading into this map, is that if you're Westar, you're not that you're not happy about having USS Texas, but it's definitely one of your probably non-preferred maps, just in general. But, of course, that is yet to be seen 100% as we have gotten to watch in the last 2 rounds, of course, victories for Gravity, but the reason why is come to those first bloods from Skyz. And it looks like, for the most part, more of a grouping up from Westar. As TTiny's able to drop Anihmal, this time for the first blood. So, like I said, we talked about Anihmal, his ability to find those first picks. TTinyy now has one added to his overall first blood column. And now a man down. Do they have any smokes? I don't believe they have any smokes to work with. So they can't kind of smoke onto that A-bomb site. And I believe Frostyyy might have something in the back lines. I think he might have a sniper, at least based on his class. I can't really tell there, but not a whole lot of pressure except for TTinyy to enter in through top control. Now you start to see all those blue arrows focus their attention onto this site. Why? Because not really as Hate's working as a bait. He doesn't actually have the bomb in his hand, so there's no reason for him to have an issue in this situation. Now, Frostyyy is the last alive. What seemed to be a round in favor of Westar totally comes crumbling down as the rotation goes toward the day bomb site. And just fantastic positioning if you're Hate, because he hops onto the bomb, and as soon as he hops onto the bomb, he stays up, holds the head glitch well. TTinyy doesn't find that kill, and him not finding that kill, it allows Skyz to be able to find a pick in the back lines. Hate works as a perfect bait in that situation, and is able to find kills while fading back. Beautifully executed by Gravity in a situation that didn't look like it was in any way going to work out for them. So looking on here, looks like we're going to be looking through the eyes of SSaggioo. Off the start, catches one in bottom, gets the trade at the very least. He turns around, gets some teammate support there onto MShake. So at least something going in their favor. Let's see how they try to play out a 2 versus 3 lead. But TTinyy with the PPSH, sniper in his back, also has the bomb. And where is SSaggioo at? I believe he's underground in the bottom ship right now. Could try to get some timing off of player number 5. And Skyz is already hopping on the defuse. And TTinyy knows about it. Finds one. Can't find the second. Anihmal is there for the trade. But I believe one player from Westar was still up and is able to drop one coming in from that top control. And honestly, if you're SSaggioo, that was I would say it's a risky play. But it's kind of like, hey, man, let's try to play out this 2v2. I'm going to hop on the bomb, and you just try to find a kill. Let's just see if you can try to find the kill. Granted, SSaggioo isn't able to make it happen. TTinyy is able to get the bomb down successfully. Also spots out, I believe it was Skyz who tries to hop on the quick defuse, as that would have been an interesting one, to say the least. But play it well and are now back into this game. Only a round down. And you see Skyz continually checking on this site, trying to find the first pick. Is TTinyy willing to test his wits again in that first blood battle, as he just jumps in the crosshair? Don't believe he was actually spotted out, but SSaggioo finding a nice nade kill. Skyz still in the back lines, has received, I believe, a nade as well. Has to back up, and now how do him and MShake try and take on the 3 remaining players of Frostyyy, Return, and SSaggioo? And if Skyz were to fire a bullet, I was going to say maybe an inch lower on his screen, could have maybe gotten a hit marker. But there goes the stun. No information gained, so MShake knows that he doesn't have to look on his top stairs and kind of just focus his attention toward the bottom side. But 3 players shooting at him from all ranges, and now Skyz, last up, I believe, picks up the bar from Hate off the ground. And I believe Frostyyy is actually pre-aiming those bottom stairs. So if you're in Skyz, spot, you got 16 seconds left. Bomb is dropped. And you still got a lot of work to do, and really, if you're Frostyyy and SSaggioo, there's no there's no reason to kind of pop out of your position and not try to go for something. But as we see, SSaggioo yet again in the final kill cam doesn't rush this one out. Lets Frostyyy kind of go through bottom just to see if he tries to go for the plant. However, not the case. And back and forth these rounds go. Talked about how it was a strong start from Gravity. Westar sharply answered the call with back-to-back rounds. And I'm curious to see, does TTinyy rock out the sniper rifle on this one? Does he pull out the sniper rifle heading into round number 7? Yes, he does. I was going to say, I wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. He starts to get some more confidence. They start to get more rounds on the board. They say, hey, it's all right. We can go pull this one out. Anihmal going for the rush. Animal's in such an awkward spot. But TTinyy misses the shots. He misses them. But he finds the kill with the nade regardless, so the sniper shots don't even matter. Firing some bullets is Frostyyy into what could have been Skyz's body, however, does escape, as we do see ourselves now in a 2 versus 2. TTinyy yet again grabbing the bomb, and it looks like Frostyyy having some cover fire shuts down Skyz, and now it's MShake last up in a 1-on-2. And honestly, if you're TTinyy and Frostyyy, you probably prefer both players to be in different positions because, well, they do end up clutching out this round, and I believe win 3 rounds in a row. You prefer TTinyy, who, I mean, I obviously planted the bomb in the last situation where he was with SSaggioo. He ended up having the sniper rifle, but still planted the bomb. You prefer probably him to kind of maybe hang in the back lines, watch over that site with the sniper, or maybe even have that machine pistol. But regardless, it does work out for them. They get the good timing and now find themselves in the lead, and one where they desperately need to be in the lead. because they're currently down 0-1 in this best-of-3 series. 3 more rounds needed for Gravity to find themselves in the finals versus Blue. Stun checks coming out. No information gained from either team at the moment as all 8 players are alive, but that's quickly about to change. Hate finding the first blood, but Frosty, does he have a sniper? What kind of assault rifle does he have? As the sniper bullet comes in from TTinyy, at the same time SSaggioo checks onto the site. 2 players drop in a matter of a moment. As MShake needs to put his head down, Frosty in that right corner, it looks like he does spawn him out. The PPSH at a long range is not the preferred weapon. But Frosty, continuing to peek his head out, is trying to pick off MShake, but regardless, the bomb goes down. And MShake, he realizes that, hey, I probably shouldn't have jumped down here. Why? Because I have 2 players who could be checking me at any time. He needs Skyz to try and help him out. And Skyz picks off Frosty, knows where both players are, checks toward his left, finds a second one as well. Quick challenge on a TTinyy, but no, it's not going to be there. A big 1 versus 1 for this man. The opposite of what his name suggests, a massive, rather, 1 versus 1 engagement. What looked like a potential 1 versus 3 turns into a clutch that now gives Westar, I believe, 4 rounds in a row. As they are now up 5 total to 3. And now 1 round away from forcing map 3 on Sainte Marie du Mont. TTinyy did work with that nade last time around, gets hit markers. That player was rocking Hunker. Goes up for the challenge and catches the corner of Skyz's frame, rather. Sees the shoulder of Shake as he's just seeing little body parts, just like, what, necks and elbows. MShake 1-on-2. Can't even finish off TTinyy, and when he needs to, TTinyy answers the call, gets the snipers to work out. He gets those first bloods and finishes off MShake here at the end, as it will be Westar who locks down USS Texas 6 rounds to 3 and ultimately will force Sainte Marie du Mont for map 3. And this one will be going the distance. And should be a very interesting map at that. And I was talking about heading into this series as TTinyy finishes off 11-5, might I add. 11-5. While Skyz finishes off 10-6. Like I said, those are the 2 guys to be looking out for. It was going to be Skyz versus TTinyy, who's going to kind of win that sniper duel. You see a 1-kill difference between the 2, but ultimately it was TTinyy who was making plays, not just with the sniper rifle, but he was able to switch to a PPSH at times, to a STG-44 at times, and was doing work with that as well. So TTinyy turns up, team sees success. It's a pattern that you're going to see happen probably to even map number 3 as well, based on his performance, maybe with the PPSH or whatever weapon he decides to rock. Maybe a sniper rifle at times. Based on his performance, a lot of the time, that's how we're going to see a lot of his teams do. And that was kind of a factor that we also got the witness pack during Call of Duty Ghosts heading into World War II, was his factor, and how his ability to kind of influence a team's overall outcome is definitely there. But like I said, coming into that series, or that map in this series, it was really Gravity who I thought probably got a decent choice when it comes down to that, because USS Texas is most likely not a favorable one for a lot of the S&D stars. They don't really like to play that one as much, just because it has a lot more, I don't want to say randomness, but just definitely a lot more, options to where a team who's not as well practiced can get kind of those first kills, or can kind of equal out to having those big advantages in rounds. So with that, Gravity isn't able to kind of capitalize on it. And now with Sainte Marie du Mont up, this is one to me where I'm very curious to see the strategies on offense between both of these squads, because like I said, you're going to see a lot of pushes over toward that B bomb site over on Radio Tower. That's going to be a major factor that we're going to be seeing constantly. How are teams going to kind of take that? Do they go toward bottom red? How do the offensive pushes get made toward that? But do we see any teams try to, try something odd? Do we see teams try to, go out, like, kind of get out of the box, get out of the normal strategies and try to, change something up? We saw a few teams doing that in our variant tournament last night. It really kind of worked out for them very well. So I think it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if we see Gravity do something odd. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if their first offensive round, we see them choose the opposite bomb site and try to work from it. Anihmal's very good at, kind of allowing his teammates like Hate and Skyz and MShake to kind of heat up, and he doesn't really mind not getting streaks, because he's usually the guy who's finding first bloods and often getting traded. So if we see Anihmal kind of play his life well, kind of work on those first bloods, we see Skyz play well with the sniper rifle, see them work on some, offsite choices, I think we can see Gravity kind of pull this one back and win this one in Sainte Marie du Mont. But you have to keep in mind, the guys in Westar are talented at search and destroy for a reason. They've been playing this particular game mode for the last few years. All these guys known in the S&D community as being top players, so definitely not ones to be sleeping on by any means. But this one should be interesting. Who will advance to face off against Blue in the finals? Personally, very interested to see how this one does play out. I'm really excited to see how this one obviously will face off. Back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UMG Prime $1,200 4v4 search and destroy here on December 28th. We've got Gravity. We've got Westar battling it out here in this current best-of-3 series as we are currently in the final one here on Sainte Marie du Mont. One map to decide it all. Who will advance? And Frostyyy finishing things off early with the nade kill. Return finishing off with a third, and just like that, Skyz is last alive in a 1 versus 4. We do apologize for the Concaster currently being in the overhead point of view. Nothing we can currently do at the moment, but once the round does conclude, we do and will be back in the first-person point of view. So apologies on that, but nothing that we can currently do about that. But for the most part, I mean, it was just overall the nade that kind of sets things off. Offense for Gravity is kind of slowed down, and you see Skyz playing very, very slow. Maybe wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, early on in the game, we know Skyz' potential. We know how well he can play as he just picks off return there. It wouldn't be a bad idea for him to try and play for streaks, like maybe try to find a few kills as he picks off the second one just like that. Playing for streaks wouldn't be a bad idea. Whether or not he can get the objective down is the thing. But with SSaggioo and TTinyy both up, SSaggioo and TTinyy both playing by themselves. One player events to go and back out. And if you're in Skyz' position, you're thinking they're either going to try and combine for a bait and switch to the front of him, or they're going to try and pinch to the back. And it looks like the bait and switch coming forward, able to take him out. TTinyy is there for the pickup, so I don't believe that Skyz does earn any streaks despite finding 2 kills along with a plant. But still, got to hand it to Skyz, man. Like I said, he plays very passively in the back of the base after a big 2-piece nade coming in from the front from Frostyyy. But does everything he can and picks off half the team, so you got to give him some credit. But it will be Westar winning round number 1. And like I said, if you guys are just joining us, last map on USS Texas ended up going the way of Westar. They won that one 6 rounds to 3 with TTinyy having a massive performance in one that he really needed to with that sniper rifle along with regular weapons. Was going to do damage with everything. As you see, both gas grenades getting tossed out from either side. It will be Anihmal who wins the early gun engagement. That's what he's known for doing. Finding the second one as well. Totally taking over this B-bomb site right now is Anihmal for the side of Gravity Gaming. And now it's Frostyyy and SSaggioo left to try and rebound. As you see Frostyyy, that's just overall, like what he's doing right now is just checking both line sights, sees that he's not at least at one, quickly goes for the second. Because if he peeks down and just checks, you know, the far right one, easily he has like a very low chance opportunity for choosing the correct line sight. So overall, not a bad challenge there. But one where you like to maybe see a little bit more creativeness kind of come out. Could be the guys from Westar thinking that, hey, maybe we're playing this a little bit slower. Maybe the Gravity guys are thinking that maybe a rush toward a different direction would be the way to go. However, not the case. Anihmal taking things into his own control, being a beast in that last one, taking over that B-bomb site by himself. That's what he's going to need to do. Wasn't playing the strongest in that London docks. Not exactly sure what his overall scoreline was on the USS Texas map, but very quick as TTinyy is able to drop Skyz for the first blood. We talked about that sniper duel on USS Texas continuing on here toward Sainte Marie as TTinyy as well, finding the second one onto Hate. Now we find ourselves in a 2 versus 3 Anihmal and Shake for Gravity. Up close. Return is there, and that's a very nice shot with the STG up close versus a guy like Anihmal who is not easy to drop, especially at a range like that. TTinyy at a long range, though, up close. As the player comes from the flank, overall well played from Westar, and I'm not sure if TTinyy ends up getting that kill or not. No, it'll be Return. So TTinyy nearly found the hat trick in this one. But Return is there to spoil the party, as everyone's trying to get close to those streaks. So looking on here to this round number 4, it will be the guys on Westar on offense. And I'm curious if we can actually go to Anihmal's perspective really quick. I'm curious if what he's going to try to do. So they have a nade to greet him. I believe that nade gets actually he's followed up before that with this stun, so he kind of gets picked off. It's just overall very solid play. You see them kind of focus attention toward that B-bomb site because right now before the indicator comes up, Gravity Gaming is in full thought that that push going toward B is one that's still likely. Why? Because they take out the man who is getting first bloods like crazy as we see a random up-close fight. Oh my god, MShake somehow is able to take out TTinyy, but just overall a very solid play on offense coming in from the guys on Westar. The nade combined for what seemed like a push toward A. And if you're in Gravity's mind, I mean, like I said, there's a nade. There's a lot of utility used over toward that bomb site. However, though, it's actually a secret push toward the non-preferred one. And so both teams at least showing that they have no issue whatsoever making offside hits. As it looks like Skyz will put away that sniper rifle there at the last second. As him and TTinyy are continuing to do battle. But it looks like TTinyy does have a nade cooked, and Anihmal has to be very wary of how important his life is. Because in clearing out this site, I mean, this is all about these early gun engagements. Who can get inside of B first? And he's the guy who's known for his speed and how good of a reaction time that he has. It looks like they're going to play a little bit more passively. Player number 2 getting into a fight, Skyz. Able to stay up for now, so man disadvantage. MShake quickly rotating through lookout post to try to get that bomb down here shortly. But player number 5, it looks like, SSaggioo, there to greet him with a few shots. Does have to back up. And now if you are the guys on Westar, have someone sitting in top red. Need to challenge this. You need to have someone looking over. And I believe that's TTinyy who's up there. Not exactly sure, but SSaggioo shuts down MShake. 2v4. Open bomb site. A pinch at any moment could come. There's 3 different directions where players could come from any direction. There's one through archway. Skyz isn't able to clear up anything. Anihmal at least able to drop 1 for the troubles, but finds nearly 2. I thought he had an opportunity to make it a 1 versus 1, but most likely would have been traded in any situation out of the 2. I mean, it was literally the definition of one shot if he would have survived those gunfights. But regardless, fighter pilot, glide bomb earned. I think a mortar strike was very closely earned there from that Westar player, so feeling good. 4 rounds to 1. They've got streaks to work with. And honestly, heading into this next offensive round, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if we see Westar maybe try to work something toward that A bomb site, just because they've got a open site to work with. And if this B bomb site doesn't work out for them, easily a rotation can be made at any moment. That's not a problem whatsoever. So have a lot of things on their side along with the round count. And here come the streaks. They're actually going to be using the glide bomb while rushing B. Might earn some information depending on what players are using Mountain from the Gravity side. It looks like Frosty and co. not having any issues despite not getting kills with the glide bomb. As we're seeing just a total turnaround right now. Gravity having issues to say the least, as they are now down 5 rounds to 1. 1 round away are the boys on Westar from finding themselves in the grand finals for tonight's UMG Prime $1,200 4v4 Search and Destroy, where they'll be taking on Fastball, Stamina, Johnny, and Supreme Agility in that group known as Blue. And they're going to need to rely to make this comeback, at least to try to grab a few rounds on these first bloods. Anihmal does not realize there's a player in his bottom right corner. This is a big play, and as soon as that nade goes out, I believe that player is actually using streaks. Player number 8 is using streaks, and so TTinyy doesn't have the call-up from Return. And now it looks like Return should go for the challenge. Does he pick him off? Yes. So Return uses those streaks in the corner, and if Anihmal is able to look back, he easily could have found those kills, but it looks like Return, regardless, is found in a 1 versus 3. And with streaks used in this round, that's not a good call, but Return jumps on 1, tries to find the second on the bomb site, can't make it work. So a very close round for Gravity, but one they do escape with. His Hate will find the final one in that round number 7. Is now looking on. Return still having the mortar strike. Do they make something work toward the offside? Do they continue to see what works for them, which has normally been that B bomb site? It looks like TTinyy could be going for that pre-snipe through mid, and not going to spot his counterpart Skyz, who they've been dueling out through a lot of the map. And I like that nade. That side nade is actually going to go right toward that bomb. Isn't able to find anything, but here come the streaks from Return. They have to be very wary, right? They've been using a lot of these streaks, but not finding any kills with them. Getting maybe some information, but it looks like Anihmal does pick off one on Return. That's big. A huge first blood for Anihmal. As he's found 3 up to this point. SSaggioo, though, responding with 1 on to Hate. 3 versus 3. As MShake shuts down 1 on TTinyy. Now 2 on 3. SSaggioo has streaks. Frostyyy, though, trying to prevent those from even being necessary. How do they play this one with a man disadvantage? Anihmal firing some shots, and now it looks like at the same time Skyz shuts down SSaggioo. Frostyyy last up. And if you're in Animal's position, I think he's on, I want to say he's on a streak, but a lot of these guys need to try and stay alive, but MShake drops. 1 versus 2. And as long as Skyz can stay here, there's no reason for Skyz to try and challenge this, at least to kind of focus his head out. No reason whatsoever, and of course he does play it well. Doesn't have to try anything unnecessary. As long as he can check on that A site, things should be good to go. But does have to check it at a pretty often rate. So with that, Skyz is there for the pickup. And now we find ourselves at 5 rounds to 3. Little by little, we're seeing some good plays coming from Gravity. Like I said, a very close kind of quarter round, but do hold it strong. Streaks get used, the mortar strike gets rocked, but I believe they still have more streaks to use as Westar. They've got a, they're sitting pretty rich right now. I want to say it's SSaggioo who might have streaks. Yes, so he does have the fighter pilot, also has the mortar strike as well. So that could potentially not be in the forefront of Gravity's mind. As the nade comes in, Anihmal cannot afford to drop like that. He has to be getting inside of the bomb site, but he's getting met with nades. He's getting met with tacticals and lethals all the time. And that's been the reason why we've seen a lot of these offensive runs toward that B bomb site for Gravity not work out successfully. Has been the main guy who finds that first blood for them is getting dropped. And we see the only player who's found first bloods for Gravity has been Anihmal, as the streaks come from the Skyz from SSaggioo. The only guy who's found first bloods for this Gravity team is Anihmal, so they rely on him to kind of get that early advantage. As Hate takes out Return, trying to make things a little bit more even. Trying to even out the man count as they desperately need Hate to go big here. This 2 versus 4 would be massive. But here comes the mortar strike. And Hate is going to feel the pressure. Frostyyy able to take him out. Now Skyz, last up, can he keep the team alive? Bomb down. All players separate throughout the map. Has to shut down Frostyyy and immediately go for a plant. We'll see what he can try to convert here as TTinyy waiting just around the corner. But SSaggioo is not here. SSaggioo is not going to join alongside him, but TTinyy is there regardless. It doesn't matter. It will be the boys on Westar who win this game, who win this series, and advance themselves to the finals for our Prime $1,200 4v4 Search and Destroy here on December 28th. Of course, major props to the guys on Westar for making this one happen, as we'll be able to take a look here at the final scorecard at the end of this game to see who exactly were kind of the main outliers. It looks like a Return finishing off 10-5, TTinyy finishing off 7-5. And one thing to kind of point out, I believe this game in total, to kind of speak on First Bloods for a second, I believe in total, this game ends out finishing 6-3 in First Bloods and 6-3 in overall round count. I believe in all 6 of the times that we see a First Blood gained, not necessarily, but we kind of speak toward the series, 6 times we see, like I said, Westar get the First Blood, 3 times we see the guys on Gravity get First Bloods, and that's, like I said, that's the overall round count that we end up seeing. 6 overall round wins for the guys on Westar, only 3 round victories for the guys on Gravity. And out of those 3 First Bloods that we see from Gravity, all of those came from Anihmal. And like I said, when it comes to converting on that B bomb site, which was at least 2 out of the 3 offensive times that we saw Gravity forced to that B bomb site, it was Anihmal getting met with nades, getting met with stuns. And maybe, I'm not really sure, I wasn't really looking at his class hardcore, but maybe it was the fact of him maybe not using combat trainings correctly. Was he using kind of airborne? Was he using energetic? Like, what kind of classes can he use? And it's just a matter of positioning, right? I mean, obviously, you're going to know when you're facing off against a team like Westar. I mean, everyone knows in Sainte Marie du Mont, there are plenty of nade spots to be looking at. But when you're facing off against a group like this, and any team in a semifinal, you've got to be thinking that at least they know a few nade spots. At least they know a few places to toss. So when it kind of comes down to this series, You know who you're facing off against. Like I said, Gravity knows Westar. Westar knows Gravity. Like, these guys play against each other. Like, it's not at all like, oh, what are these guys going to do in Search and Start? Like, everyone has a general idea what the strategies are on Sainte Marie du Mont. I think it's the most typical map in the game as far as like what offensive motions are the ones to be made. So to me, it's a little bit surprising that we don't see Anihmal kind of, not that, I'm not sure if it was just a matter of positioning, because those nades could be coming in at a number of different directions. There's like 3 main directions that those nades can kind of come in. It's either toward that back car, either toward the beginning or the front of that kind of entryway, or just toward the right, to that side street. So there's like a few different ways for him to look at, and I'm not sure if it was just bad timing. Maybe it was just like the players, like him switching his class. I saw a few times where he would kind of wait, and I'm not sure if he was changing his class or just waiting for those nades to come through. But him dying early on was just a massive problem for them quite a bit of the time. And, of course, along with a number of different other plays, too, that kind of didn't go their way. But it was a matter of, having different players go off. TTinyy plays pretty well, but in the end, it was tReturn who finishes off with 10 kills in total. Definitely going off exactly when he needed to. I think we're actually going to take a quick look at the bracket to kind of break things down and let you guys see exactly how we've gotten to this current point. Obviously, we'll be having Westar face off against Blue here in our grand finals for tonight's Prime tournament. As you guys can obviously see how teams have obviously gotten here. Taking a look at Blue's overall run. Very, very impressive. Taking down Zodiac as well as the EU Cadets. And now have advanced themselves here toward the finals in Westar. Taking down Ice as well as taking down Gravity Gaming. And Gravity, I think who we've been on throughout, if not most of the tournament up to this point, have obviously played incredibly strong and very sound. So I have to give a big GG's to the guys on Gravity, Anihmal, MShake, Hate, and Skyz. However, did meet their match when it came down to USS Texas.